Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Leilu Nishmas Mordechai. I apologize. I'm a little under the weather. Last night was unreal. Final count. 1,650 people showed up last night. It's unbelievable. So, Kol HaKavod, we're here with a very small crowd, the organizers. So thank you for the host. Thank you for the organizer last night. What's your guy's name again? Tower? Tawil. Oh, that's right. Mishpacha Tawil. Great. Harry and Bobby Tawil. You always trip me up with that name when you send me the yeah, okay, thanks. So we're here in Deal, New Jersey, and it's before Shabbat, trying to chaparine another shir. Motzi Shabbos, we're going to be in Lakewood, live in Lakewood, and Bezrat Hashem on Sunday, Toronto. Monday, Toronto, a quick shir, and then off to Israel we go. It was an unbelievable event. Great speakers. Reb Ari Ben Shushan flew in from Los Angeles. Really killed it with his speech. And everybody was mischazik. It was a Kiddush Hashem. People walked away inspired. Hopefully that inspiration lasted through the Masechta. And Bezrat Hashem, we should get together for great occasions. I don't want to not talk about the other siyumim. I really didn't get many pictures yet from other siyumim. There was a beautiful siyum in Ramat Shemesh where Benny, the famous Benny the butcher, he put together a massive siyum. I know there's a siyum in London. Here, I think I have it here, but let's just read this. Here's a picture of an incredible piece of art that the guys got together and got me, and they displayed it right there at the siyum. It's basically, it means a lot to me because it's all the characters of Maseches Yavamas, all the Baldwin brothers and different things that happened throughout the Masechta, all on one mural. It was beautiful. And here's the email from a kid. I needed to write to you, actually, this is his father. What a huge impact the siyum on Yavamas had on me and on my 7-year-old son. We traveled in from Toronto. By the way, there were a number of people that literally traveled 8 hours from Toronto in the car to get here just for the siyum. Not to talk about Rabbi Rosenberg, Chesky Rosenberg, I think that's his name, who traveled in all the way from Brazil for the siyum. Many different, it was incredible. I needed to write to you what a huge impact it did. We traveled in from Toronto. They had a wedding in Lakewood, and it was our good fortune that the MDY siyum in New Jersey happened that week. Great. I took my boy to the siyum. Bottom line is, his 7-year-old was so inspired by the siyum, he decided he's starting from the beginning of Shas. He opened up Masechtas Brachas and started steiging away. Here's his son. He was driving home to Toronto, and son, it was Jeff Awald. Beautiful. Here, somebody, if you're wondering what happened to all the centerpieces on the tables at the siyum, here's an answer. Stephen Roth says, I'm going to miss Yavamas, so I created a man cave shrine to Yavamas at work. If you take a look, he has 7 centerpieces in his house. That's where they are. He took one of each. Here's the Potato Head and the Baldwin brothers. Great. A little chizik and good memories will help me ride the waves. Loaf like Rebbe Meir. Oh, it's going to ride the waves of Rebbe Meir. Givaldik. Here, I don't know if this is one line from the speech. It's a little off, but this is what we have. We're on the road. Listen to this, Rabbi Isai. Here we go.
So it'll be so cool. I cannot wait when the Siyum HaShas comes around, because I want to see the look on the face of the Aguda representative when they go up to MetLife, and MetLife is, I'm sorry, but MDY already booked us. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. I am so honored and privileged to be here. I do have to...
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, there's a siyum in, this is Mismesh Or Chodosh in London, Masechtas Yavamas in London, July 11th. And as I said, Lakewood and Toronto, here we come. This Motzei Shabbos, if you didn't sign up, there's already 200 people that signed up in Lakewood, so be there. Last night, one of the sponsors I didn't mention, I want to mention, is sponsored, and today is her yard site. Moras Eko Edna Tzipira Bas Moshe Menachem Alevi Yishkoich for your sponsorship. They just gave us a Torah Nishmas, so it's beautiful. Thanks for being a great supporter of MDY. When I met you tonight at the Siyum, he asked me to write you. I'm not going to say his name. He asked me Be'ilam Shem. While still on a spiritual high from tonight's incredible Siyum, thank you for the zchus to share with the Daf. Me and my family, my wife is so supportive. She literally pushed me to go to the Siyum. Why I didn't want to go on my own is a bomb kasha. The Siyum was such a Kiddush Hashem and covered our Torah to learn, sing, and dance with Yidden from all over the world and from very many backgrounds. It was a celebration similar to a chassan of a huge family, along with sincere wish of everyone to celebrate with you, something like that. It was so personal yet communal at the same time. MDY is truly a family. Just today, on our last day of Yavamas, I got to learn with a kid, geschmack to sit down and learn with him. As we know, Yavamas was a bruiser. Yavamas was a bruiser. I like that. Some people thought it was. I thought it was fun. In fact, I'm pretty certain that I would have crashed and burned during Yavamas if not for you and MDY and the Bat Ayin lady. Learning with you. Does that mean he's Sephardi? What does that mean? He picked the Bat Ayin out of all the women? Learning with you is a game changer. You have rekindled the geschmack in my learning, but he's saying geschmack in all these yeshivas shalashinas, so he's probably not. Have inspired me to make it fun and look forward to learning with my kids. As I told you tonight, you've changed my life. Have a great Shabbos. Keep inspiring us all, and I'll keep in touch. Anonymous. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I thought okay, you know what? There are sponsors, and there's a Kyle sponsor, and there's all these sponsors. I did not put it on here. We're on the road. We're under the weather. You'll have to bear with me. All right. The good news for everybody is there are no charts because there's no screen here, so you're not going to see charts. Don't worry about it. And I'm on the road. Charts will come back eventually. Be'ezer Hashem. I don't think much of Shabbos. Zok Tehele Gemar. We're here all the way in the bottom of Beis Amud Beis. And it's 5 lines from the bottom. Remember we said about the guy who gave his wife a get, and he said if I don't come back at a certain amount of time, there should be a get. And he goes to catch the boat, and he sees that the clock is ticking. It's almost the 30 days, and the boat is not going anywhere. Or the boat sailed off. He missed the boat. And he's screaming from the other side, and he says, I'm here, but you're not here. You're physically not there. The halacha is that it's a get. He can scream as much as he wants. So you see from here that even if there's a aynus, it's not his fault, or it is his fault maybe, a little bit not his fault. It's still a get. So the Gemara says, "V'dilma unze the shchiach shani." Perhaps there's no raya from a boat. When a guy misses a boat, it's so common to miss boats and to miss rides and to be late that that's not considered a aynus, like similar to a person getting sick. He should have stuck that in as a condition. Hey, if I missed the boat, it's not a get. He lost out. So Rav is saying his own svara. Again, Rav started off the sugya saying that when it comes to a get, even a aynus doesn't help him. The get is a get. So if a guy says, I'm going to give you this get if I don't come back in 30 days, and he has a terrible, how do you say aynus in English? What? Aynus, right? Onus. If he has an aynus or an onus, then it doesn't work. It doesn't help to be mevatel the get. Says Rav, I'll tell you why. And the Gemara today, we're going to see the exact opposite. The Rav says that a aynus does ruin a get. Tsnua, a woman who has extra tznius, prutza, is the opposite of a tsnua. In our Gemara, it just means that she's not super makbid. That what? Mishum tsnua is the last line on Daf Beis Amud Beis. Mishum tsnua is the amis loy lehev get. Because if you're going to say that if there's a aynus, it's not a get, zimnin the loy anus. Sometimes there's no aynus. In other words, the husband decided he had enough of his wife, he's not coming back. No aynus. There's no emergency, nothing happened, he's not sick, he knows exactly what's going on. Besavra the anus. Now, she is starting to be machmer. Now we're talking about somebody who's super machmer, super frum. ultra from, where she doesn't have to. Because halachically, she's divorced. He gave her a get. He says, if I don't come back, you're divorced. He didn't come back. It was his fault. But she's going to say, but maybe I have to be concerned that maybe he got some sort of disease. He's in the hospital and he couldn't get to me. So, I'm not saying that she is a terrible person, but I want to give you a few examples of people that went above and beyond where they probably shouldn't have. There was a Baal Tshuva that comes into yeshiva and his hands are burnt. So what happened? He said, I learned in halacha that you're supposed to burn your fingernails. Well, yeah, after you cut them off, not when they're stuck to your fingers. So that's one guy. There's another guy, he was in the process of gerus, and they said, listen, you're not a ger yet. So what we think you should do is you should take your keys from your house and walk around. So the rabbi said, wait a minute, that's not a good idea. There's an Eruv. So the ger says, no, I don't go by the Eruv. So for me it's carrying. And therefore it's Machal Shabbos, and therefore it's okay. There's guys in all different levels. Fine. There's another bad one, but here's a guy that a guy came over to him and said, you're Jewish? Yeah, okay, I'm going to kill you. So he says, wait a minute. You're going to kill me? I got to make a bracha. Baruch atah Hashem. So the guy thought that he said some sort of hiji-biji, omen. He turned around and ran away. So the Jew says, well, where are you going? No, hafsek. So sometimes when it comes to being super machmer and super frum, it's not a great thing. Over here you have hatzlacha, she can get married. She decided she's not going to get married. So we have to be concerned about a woman like that as well. Prutza is the amris loyle havigita. Now, prutza doesn't mean like a terrible woman. It just means somebody that's not on that level of chumras. The amris loyle havigita. If you tell me that if there's a einus, this is almost counterintuitive. You tell me that if there's a einus loyle havigita, it's not a get. Zimnin de anis, then there will be a einus. V'amra loy anis. She's going to say, okay, there's a real einus. There is an emergency. V'amra loy anis. She'll think that there's no einus. V'azlo mitzvah. And she'll go get married. V'nimtza get batel u'bonei mamzerim. Now, we're going to make it a get. Chacham are going to say it's a get, even though it's not a get. And her children are going to become mamzerim. Ask the Gemara, how's that possible? You're telling me that halachically the Torah tells us this is not a get. And you're going to tell me that Chachamim went ahead and took a document that doesn't work, min Torah, doesn't work. And they said, it does work. And Memela, she's zchus. And you're allowing this woman, you're telling me that it's a good get only with the Rabbanan. Rabbanan said it works when the Torah says it doesn't work. So now she's going to go get married. Says Gemara, in Chachamim have that ability. Chachamim have the ability to take a document that, you hear this? Here's a document that the Torah says is not a get, we're going to make it a get. How could they do that? It doesn't work. You just made an zchus. How could Chacham tell you a married woman is not married? That's what they're doing. So the Gemara says, the famous line, said many times in Shas, they have the right to do it. How? Called the Mekadesh Adat to the Rabbanim Mekadesh. They go back 20 years, the day of the wedding. They go back to that moment. And they say, because you said, and everybody says, Hareyat Mekudeshet Li, Kedat Moshe Yisrael. I'm here in deal. Just, you wouldn't understand it any other way, right? Kedas Moshe Yisrael. So anyways, you're saying, as you're putting the ring on, you're saying that you're going to be Mekadesh to your wife with however Chachamim want you to be Mekadesh. So they go back into that time retroactively, and they annul your marriage. They take away the ring from you. They say it's not yours. It's not a good kiddushin. they go back. So now what happened? You lived without Kiddushin for the last 20 years. So she was never Eishes Ish. And the Gemara always asks this question and always answers the same answer. Right? We had this in Yavamas also, I believe. That's great if you use money, so it works. That's a great trick. But what, the first mission in Kiddushin, that a person can be Mekadesh a woman with 3 ways: Kesef, Shtar, and Bia. Now, how exactly, if it's a monetary thing, they could take away your money. Hefker, Bezin, Hefker. They have the right to go into your property, take your property away. But how could they annul relations? Says Gemara, they could. They made that the relations that he had with his wife, and his kind with Bia, it was just nus. It wasn't a Maisa Kiddushin, and therefore they were never married. And if they're never married, she's not Eishes Ish. And so therefore they're saying the get is a get. It's not that it's a get. It means that they were never married. Now we're going back to what we learned yesterday. So if you look at the middle of Daf Beis Amud Beis, it says Amarava ule'inyan gitin einaken, that Einus doesn't help the husband if he has an emergency, he got sick, the boat, whatever it is, it doesn't work for a get. It doesn't annul a get. The condition will continue going on. We don't care that he has Einus. Ikadami, and some say the exact opposite. So 180. Amarava v'chein le'inyan gitin. The Einus does work. So now we have freebies, maybe 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 lines of freebie. If you listen to the yesterday's shir, it's going to be word for word what we learned yesterday. But instead, yesterday the Gemara was saying, let's bring a raya that a Einus doesn't work. And the Gemara said, well, it's not a good raya. And now we're going to ask a question from the same raya. It's a question. The what? So you see that Rava holds that if a person has an emergency, a Einus, it annuls the get, it's mevatel the get, meisvei. If a person says this is your get, tells his wife, if they don't come back, as I explained yesterday, they used to go on business trips, and they had to make sure that their wives don't fall ibum. They don't want their wives to marry the brother-in-law for whatever reason. So they would give her a conditional get. If I don't come back in 12 months, that means something bad happened to me, you're divorced. And he died within 12 months. Ain't a get, it's not a get. Why? Because you cannot give a woman a get after death. It seems like it's only because he died. But if he had an emergency, he got sick. Emergency is not the right word. What's the right word? No. Nisanel, you're an author. How do you say Einus in English? Outside of control. Outside of the control. Extenuating circumstances. Okay, extenuating circumstances. It's too hard for the Panovich to say. Emergency. Okay, so you want to be medayik because it says the word mace that he died. The Gemara says no. It could have actually said chala, which was a bigger chiddush. Even if he got sick, forget about the crazy tragedy of death. Even if he got sick, it knocks the get off. It's not a get. But I wanted to tell you chiddush that in get lachar misa, there is no get after death. In get lachar misa, hatana le'reisha. That's exactly what it says over there. Yesterday's Gemara elaborated maybe a little bit more. It says Gemara, yesterday it also elaborated a lot more. It just says it in 3 words. That yesterday we learned that if the get has a date, we go by the date. Even though he died, we say, wait a minute, when did he die? He died in November, the get was written in January, then that means he wanted the get to happen in January. That's why there's a date. And we go backwards like that. Okay, that's what Rabbi Seinu say to undo Rabbi Seinu. Tashma. Now, he sticks in a word me'achshav. Me'achshav is a key word. Me'achshav means retroactive. The get should work from today if I don't come back in 12 months. So if I don't come back in 12 months, when is the get chal? When does it take effect? Today. Today when I write it, and when I give it. And he dies within 12 months, harei zeh get. Why? Why all of a sudden is a good get? Because it's retroactive. It works retroactive. Now, there's an incredible Yerushalmi. You might not know about this. I'll tell you a big chiddush. Yerushalmi says, yes, it's a good get. But when could this woman get married? Her husband gave her a get in January. He died 6 months later. It's a good get. Why? Because he got a get. He gave the get in January. But what did he stipulate in the get? If I don't come back in 12 months. You know what the Yerushalmi says? You're not going to believe this. She cannot get married for 12 months. Because what if he does come back? Oh, but he died. Mashiach. The Yerushalmi says, what if Mashiach comes and he pops out of his grave and he comes back home? So you have to wait 12 months. So there's a whole thing. What?
We have Gemara's by Torah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's a real thing. Yeah, that's yeah. But there's always a shaila. There's different questions. Is Tchias HaMesim, does a person become a new person? Okay, fine. That's Yerushalmi. Anyway, says Gemara, my love, hu adin l'chala. It says that if he died within 12 months, it's a get. In other words, the worst of the worst. What's the word again? Extenuating circumstances. Could you think about an extenuating circumstance more than death? There's nothing more that people try to avoid death as much as possible. So certainly, if there's a lesser situation, COVID, it certainly should be a get. Says the Gemara, no. My love, no, in this case, it's only death. Why? When it comes to death, the whole point of the get is because he doesn't want her to fall to Yibum. Fine, says the Gemara Tashma. Let me prove that what Rava is saying in the second lashon of Rava, that einus, extenuating circumstance, annuls a get, ruins the get. This is how we started off the sugi today, the story with the boat. A guy came, he missed his boat, literally missed his boat. He's screaming from the other bank, hey, I'm here, tell my wife we're not divorced. It doesn't matter, he's divorced. He gave her a get, it's divorce. It should be a get. He came at the end of 30 days and he missed the boat. He started screaming, I'm here. He didn't show up. That's not considered showing up. Says Gemara, so you see over there that Oinus works. Maybe it's not a good raya. You see, maybe perhaps oh my gosh. Maybe, hold on, they're all calling me. I don't know why they're calling me. Why is Avi Kamiansky calling me? Tell Avi that I'm in the middle of recording here. Okay. Maybe he doesn't see, maybe he's trying to say that something's wrong with YouTube. What? He wants to come here? Okay, but he could call Nissan or somebody else, no? Says Gemara. Where are we? Given the boy last New Year, this is the same story we had before. Again, mamish freebies. The whole sugi is a freebie. Missing a boat is not enough an extenuating circumstance. It's not such a oinus. You know that you're going to miss the boat. Come earlier. Do whatever you need to do not to miss the boat. Coming down with the disease is a problem. Given the boy last New Year, are you calling Avi? Somebody call Avi Kamiansky. He keeps on calling me. Okay. Omer Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak. Loishanu ela mitakonas Ezra veilach. This idea that a woman has to get married only on a Wednesday, right? That's the first Mishnah. Can only get married if she never got married before, only on a Wednesday. So now this comes to answer the question everybody had. So why did I get married on a Sunday? Why did you get married on a Tuesday? It's the day, Tuesday is a great day. Why? Yom shenechba boy kitayv, it's double kitayv, great. So why does Mishnah say Wednesday? This whole idea is after Ezra came and instituted 10 different rules. that there's only a bezdin on Monday and Thursday. But beforehand, where the bezdin assembles every single day, like in our days, you get married every day besides in Shabbos. So the Gemara always asks that, what do I care what happened in the past? Why are you telling me such a halacha? Oh, by the way, that is only in our days. But 1,000 years ago, we need to know what's in the future, not what it was in the past. Says the Gemara, the obvious answer, if Bezdin today is like in those days where they assembled every day, so a woman can get married every day. Ask the Gemara, yesterday we discussed the idea of shaktu. What does shaktu mean? And we're going to see another type of shaktu. Chachamim delved into it, and they established rules to help the women, to help people. That what? The triachle. Sorry, that's the answer. But what's the question? Shaktu means that we gave them 3 days to prepare the chasana. 3 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So how could you tell me that the bezin assembles on a Sunday? You could get married on a Friday. What happened to the 3 days of preparing the wedding? How could you get married on a Tuesday? You only have Sunday and Monday. Says the Gemara, the triachle. He worked really hard. He brought extra help in. He got a refrigerator. He did whatever he has to do, and he made it work. Okay, Daf Yomi Beis. Wow, again, I don't have it. Sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of Rabbi Medetsky, the best basketball player that ever lived. And sponsored by Nisano in honor of Murad. Not Murad. Murad Nakash. He's right over here. Tzaddik, sitting over there. Shkoyer for last night. My shoktu. Now, the Gemara is asking, where do we get this din? And we're asking questions about this halacha shaktu. The shaktu. How can you get married on a Sunday, on a Monday? Why is it such an important halacha? Where do we come up with this halacha? Is it Tanaim that came up with this? Where did you come up with it? By the way, a riddle. Now nobody's going to get this one. This doesn't really apply, really. But what day do you think would be usher to get married only in America, but not in Eretz Yisrael? What day of the week it would be a problem to get married on, but only in America? That problem doesn't exist in Israel. No. Every week. You say Sunday. Why Sunday?
Because the Goyim celebrate Shabbat on Sunday.
Very good. Moshe Feinstein says it's a problem to get married on a Sunday. We love Sundays. It's the hottest day to get married. When I was a caterer, it was the hottest day. Beautiful. Says the host. I'm not going to even try to say your name again.
Bobby.
Bobby's Bobby, but what's your last name again? Tawil. Come on, get with the program, guys. Smith, Stefansky, I'm just kidding. Tawil. Okay, so says Bobby that Sunday is Yom Edom. It's their holiday. It says Ramoshi you shouldn't get married on a Sunday, but in Eretz Yisrael you don't have that problem. It's not their holiday on Sunday in Israel. Says the Gemara. Now the Gemara goes through again, a little bit of a freebie here. What is a version of a woman who never got married before gets married on a Wednesday? If he couldn't find Basulim, Haya Mashkim Lebeis HaMedrash. Haya Mashkim Lebeis HaMedrash. Haya Mashkim Lebezdin. Now, a person doesn't find psulim, as we discussed yesterday. Somebody came over to me today in Murad's house, and he said, "You know what I liked about your shir? That you said right away in the Mishnah how it applies to Daf Yomi. That if you have an inspiration, you're supposed to take that inspiration and go with it immediately, like we saw in the Mishnah. If you are inspired to do the Daf, you start right now. You don't start tomorrow, even if it's the middle of Masechta." The guy has a taina. He's concerned that his wife was mizana. Go to Bezin immediately, because otherwise he might relax and he won't go and he'll be living in sin. Let him get married on a Sunday because Bezin convenes on Monday, so it's not a problem. Chacham looked into it and they said that the daughters of Israel, they should have a beautiful wedding. It's not just the wedding. In those days, the chassan went, prepared all the Sheva brachas, everything. You see from the Gemara, so it was very interesting. People used to bring their own food to weddings. It's not like today we had the caterers, the fancy caterers, and 500 guests or 1,000 guests, or whatever you guys invite. It's, 10, 20, 30 people. It's not a big deal. 3 days of the chassan working a little bit, and next. Or bevi kainsa. So listen to this. I just want to tell you a few halachas. Very, very interesting stuff. Again, I'm not a rabbi. I don't paskin. This is not halacha l'maisa. But I'm just saying over things that I've read in Sfarim. And you could take it to your own thing. Like, don't get married on a Sunday. Don't take it literally. Ask your local rabbi. So, there's a nidan in the Mefarshim whether or not a wedding suuda is a deraisa or derabana. The actual suuda is deraisa. It might be deraisa. But they say that a wedding meal must be nicer than a yontif meal. And this is important, let's say in Eretz Yisrael. Rather, I'm giving Musa now to the Israelis, rather than giving that, I don't know if you ever went to a wedding, but a very oily piece of schnitzel, is that what you serve at your yontif meal? Most people serve meat at yontif. So then it should be at least meat. Talking about schnitzel, I just remembered. A guy goes to the waiter, he says, "Why are you putting your fingers on my schnitzel?" So the guy goes, "What, you want it to fall on the floor again?" So, but the suda, so if whatever you do on yontif, the chasana should be even nicer, to the point that lahalacha, and this is in the Shulchan Aruch, invite less people to your wedding, provide, if you don't have money for meat, so then go less on the amount of guests, go higher on the type of food, because it's more important to have good meat, good food, than even on Yontif. So the wedding is very important. Now, I'm not saying here to go against the takanas and, Eli said that you should go crazy and get the. No, it should be within reason, but halacha, meat. I didn't say, the smorgasbords and all that stuff. I'm not going into that even. I'm just saying simple halacha. Now, very interesting, because we're talking about the chassan. The chassan is preparing. Who pays for the wedding in our days? Usually the kala, right, Fischl? Most of the time. And the chassan, I don't know, by the Sfardim, there's something in America called flap, the photographer, the music, and the whatever. Where did that come from? So listen to this amazing Moshe Feinstein. He says that since the chassan has to pay for the meal, but in our days, we get the kala to pay for it. So he says a chiddush, you're not going to believe, it's not going to knock your socks off. If a person gets divorced and he thinks he's going to get away with just giving his wife the minimum ksuba, some people said it's $1,500, $3,000, nothing major, you're in for a surprise. You must pay her back the entire $20,000 that the wedding cost, because it's your bill, not her bill. She came in and gave you a gift at the wedding, you must pay for it, says Moshe Feinstein. I just wanted to tell you that. Shocker. Again, you could go ask your local rabbi. Fine. Says the Gemara, but this is interesting, right? Because we keep on seeing the chassan, and the chassan should do the meal and it takes him 3 days, etc. And when the danger came into Klal Yisrael, to fool the enemy, instead of getting married on a Wednesday, they got married on a Tuesday. Chacham didn't say anything. Now, this is very interesting. Now, Monday is really bad, because now you only have 1 day to prepare. Tuesday is a half tzara. You get 2 days to prepare instead of 3. And on a Monday, you only get 1 day to prepare. At the end of the day, then it's okay. Says the Gemara, now, the first, what's Leil Shabbos, by the way? Because I made an announcement in Eretz Yisrael when I originally moved there. That's how the whole shir started. I was giving a synopsis on Daf Yomi, all 7 daf. in one shot. And I advertised, I said, come to my house, Leil Shishi, and there'll be cholent and kugel and sushi. So everything was great. And then all of a sudden Friday night, people started knocking on my door. Like, yeah. It's like, we're here for the cholent. Like, what are you talking about? You said Leil Shishi, it's Friday night. It's like, no, Leil Shishi means Thursday night. Oh, you got us there. So anyways, Leil Shishi means Thursday night because in the Jewish calendar, the day starts at the night. So Friday, Leil Shishi, the night of Friday means the night before. So therefore, Leil Shabbos. What's Leil Shabbos? Doesn't mean Motzei Shabbos. It means Friday night. So you got to get the chassan and kal away from each other. We're going to see Bipnei Shu Oiseh Chabura, because the first time is a wound, and that's also in Shabbos. It's also to create a wound where there's bloodlet. Ma'isakana. Now, what's going on here? What's with the goyim? If it's a sakana of death, that if you get married on Wednesday, they will kill you. Nohagu. That's a minig that legamri yakri. It's sakanas nefashos. You don't get married on a Wednesday if they're going to kill you. Listen to this crazy thing that happened, the decree. If this is the first time you're getting married, you must go with the ruler first. The ruler got first dibs on every kala. Now, what's interesting, it seems like it wasn't so much for his taiva as much as he wanted to get rid of the hatzlacha that you get married on a Wednesday. He said, if you're going to get married on a Wednesday, I'm coming in first. So therefore, they said it's okay to get married on a Tuesday. Says the Gemara, but then why does it say a lashon of sakana? It says mishas hasakana. From the period of time that it became dangerous. Well, it's not dangerous. We're talking about an isser. We're not talking about a life and death situation. It's a very uncomfortable situation that she has to be with a guy first, but it's not life and death. Hai sakana, aynasu. He's forcing her, so she's not chayiv misa or anything. Says the Gemara, Mishum deiketz the Muslim nafshayu liktala. You hear this? I'll tell you the famous story. I said this a number of times. We'll say it again for the new guys. By the Cossacks. This Cossack took this Jewish girl, and she realized what's about to happen. So she said, I want to teach you a trick. Our religion, we have a thing that we say one verse, and we become immune to swords. You could try to stab me, it's not going to go through my skin. It was impossible. She says, try it. It's okay. She said, take this sword, aim it at my heart, okay? She says, now watch. I'm going to say this verse, and you're going to try to stab me. She says, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and he killed her. B'nai Yisrael, the Tzidkaniyos, we had this throughout the generations. They were moiser nefesh to kill themselves. Maybe halachically they didn't have to, but it's okay, yes to, in these situations, if they want to be moiser nefesh, not to be with this Russia. Now, why did they do that? It was based on a mistake. They thought that if he's going to be with her, she's going to be usher to her husband. Now, it is true that a woman who willfully goes with another man, she's usher to her husband. But if it's be'oinus, if it's forcefully, if she didn't take an active role in it, then she doesn't have to. But they didn't know that. Now, Taisus talks about why don't we have the idea of Yaharig Val Yavar? The three Averis, every kid in school knows. You can't kill somebody if somebody puts a gun to your head and says, kill somebody in Alado, Avodah Zarah, and Gila Arayis. So why is this not Gila Arayis? She's engaged. Engaged in those days is complete. She's Kiddushin, not engaged like in nowadays. So how is she allowed? Says Taisvas, there's a big difference between a man and a woman. A man, anytime he's with a woman, he takes an active role. He's active. A woman, she could be passive. And in this case, she's passive. If she's active, that's a different story. But if she's passive, then she doesn't have to give up her life. If the guy is the guy is being madness. It says the Gemara, it's called a sakana because they give up their lives for it. Ask the Gemara, I don't understand, but they should get up in shul and say, if this ever happens to you, this hegmon tries to grab you, don't kill yourself for it. You don't have to. Says the Gemara, we can't do that. You're going to have the women on the flip side. They're going to say, well, the rabbi said, don't give your life up. That means the rabbi said it's okay. So now they're going to be actively involved in it, and actively is also. Says the Gemara, you also have a kohenes who does become aser to her husband, even if she's passive. Says the Gemara, let us uproot the whole Wednesday. Why do we even have it? Says the Gemara, Gzeira avida de batla, v'tekante de rabbanon mikamei gzeira loy akrinon. Great ma'aser, we'll have to leave it for a different time. Certain things, the gzeira is going, this terrible decree, like Baruch Hashem, our days we don't have it, the decree is going to go, but the takan of the rabbanon was there beforehand. So we're not going to be arguing the takan of the rabbanon. A very interesting thing. Also a shocker. I'm only here to shock you guys. Rebbe Chanan Wasserman in Tafresh Tzadik Vav, there was also like sort of a decree, like today a lot of countries are trying to get rid of shchita and that sort of thing. So the government came up and they said, listen, in order to do shchita, you have to electric shock the animal first and then shecht it. The Pesachim said you can't do that, it's also to do. Rebbe Chanan Wasserman paskin so far that if a person is in the hospital and he only has two choices, kosher shchita from an animal that was electrocuted, get him a little shock beforehand, which is pretty decent, but the Pesachim says not good, or chazer treif. He says eat chazer treif. Why? Because we don't want to chazer shalom lose the idea of shchita. If we institute and say it's okay, then people for generations are going to forget about it. It's going to become a normal thing. Yes, shock the animal, shecht. We have to say, no, we do shchita. Not shchita, then eat pig. That's a psak for Rebbe Chanan Wasserman. Again, I'm not pasking here. We're just saying things over. Says the Gemara. Well, you think the guy's an idiot? The guy sees there's no weddings in 6 years on Wednesday. He's going to start showing up on a Tuesday. Where are they? What's going on here? Says the Gemara, also together with that idea that it's not exactly clear that that's 100%, but I've seen it around, that he wants to get rid of the takanas chachamim. That's what he really wants to do. He's kind of happy that it's not on a Tuesday, that it's not on a Wednesday, that it moved to a Tuesday. But nevertheless, listen, he's about taiva, so maybe he'll show up on a Tuesday. He's lazy. He does. If you take all the weddings and put them on a Wednesday, so he knows if he shows up to town on a Wednesday, he's going to get at least one wedding or something's going to happen. If he doesn't know what day it is, it might be a Tuesday, it might be a Monday, he's not going to travel all the way out there for a suffix. Even about taiva doesn't go around for a suffix. Yeah, by the way, just as a quick tie into the daf, as we said before, sometimes people have, a mitzvah, a really strong mitzvah, that we always have this. Like a guy, we had that on Purim, on Yom Kippur. What was it? Erev Yom Kippur, the guy in the shir, he decided to leave shir and go collect money. And I gave him some musar. I said, come on, you don't cancel daf for tzedakah. He said, well, all these poor people. And then he ended up making crazy amount of money. People sent him money from all over the world, like 100 times more than he ever would have made before. But the idea of, we have a kfiyas in Daf Yomi. In order to break that kfiyas, you have to think very, very strongly. Is that hatzlacha call that important? Is that chaverim call, whatever that chesed that you're doing, is there somebody else that could do it maybe instead of you? And that's, tie it into this, that mitzvah is going to be misbatel. But this idea of Daf Yomi never is batel. It's forever. And chas v'shalom, if you get used to the thing of canceling, you might cancel out a mitzvah that's there forever and every day. Says the Gemara, we learned that on Monday is not a time to get married. Is mutter. But if he doesn't have a choice, then he could. Says Gemara, my oinus, what exactly we're talking about? If we're talking about the oinsim that we're talking about until now, so you're talking about the hegemon, you're talking about the ruler, whatever you're talking about, but you started calling it, in the beginning you called it a sakana, and we explained why it's a sakana, because the woman might give up her life for it. Great. So then why are you switching language? Why all of a sudden now you're calling it a oinus? So it can't be that ruler that we're talking about. Visu, hasam nagu, hacham mutter. It says the word nagu, and now all of a sudden became mutter. It's mutter or it's the minig. Minig means it's strong, it's solid. And now we're saying, oh, it's after the fact, it's okay. So we're concerned that if the guy comes with his entire army and all his troops, he might eat us out of town, he might eat up the whole wedding. Says Gemara, if he's coming and going, he's coming on a Monday and he's just passing by, he'll be out of there. Liakiv. So get married on the Wednesday. What are you doing? No, he's coming and he's staying for a while. Says Gemara, why do you get married on a Monday? Get married on Tuesday. You still have more time to prepare the Suda. Says Gemara, is Parvati Day b'shlishi kasu. We're very familiar with the Secret Service. When the President of the United States goes anywhere, let's say he goes to Israel, the Secret Service is there 90 days in advance, at least. They're there, they're checking, they're looking. You know that they even weld the manholes in the street. It's preparation, not 1 day, not 2 days. It's months. They need to see where the guys could shoot from and where they can't shoot, the whole thing. Over here also, when this Moshel, he comes, he sends his dudes at least 1 day in advance. And Memela, they're coming on a Tuesday. That's why you have to get married real quickly on a Monday. Have a wonderful day. Have a great Shabbos. Thank you for having me. Yishkoyach. Great day.